Philippe Roger here with another great video for Pro Play Games. Here with we're your leading provider of video sources for Dragon Ball Super. We continue to be. So today I'm bringing you a very good red deck that we feel is going to be very strong within the format and very burst damage, very aggressive. Now, before I even go into what the leader is, I want to show you this card that caught our attention. Miraculous Comeback Ultimate Gohan. Now, when we first looked at this card and we said, why is this card $25? And we read the ability, somebody complained to us and told us, well, when he becomes 2 mana, he could still be killed by things like Gotenks. But we look at these things and say, that's not a good enough excuse to explain why this card is bad. We feel that for 2 mana, a double striking 25,000 beater is something that we need to abuse. And that's why I call this deck Mulligan to Gohan. Let me tell you something. This card is your 2-drop. Before, we only had Hit as a 2-drop, and honestly, at 15,000, we thought he was incredible. But our baseline for small creatures, especially in 2-drops, has gone up significantly with Gohan. So basically the entire deck is you trying to mulligan down to this guy, and then you trying to reduce your hand size to 4, including this guy, so that you could get this guy on turn 2. You could, with this deck and my leader choice, which might be questionable to some, this has been very good and very consistent. Now, the most commonly used leader is Champa for a red deck, because you want to take advantage of your double striking creatures, just like Kaba, to gain you a card when you swing. Now, the only problem that I had with that originally testing this deck was that there are too many times where I'd be putting a card, using his ability to put a card into my hand. And that's counterintuitive to Gohan's ability. Now, we want to have as little cards in his hand as possible, so I took a generic leader, and I took Gohan to go with the red theme and go with the father-son thing. And I believe there are very many leaders in the first set that are very similar to this, that allow you to discard a card to pump it. A lot of people say that, and that's so minus because you're discarding a card. But it goes synergistically with the idea of the deck. Now, the other win condition that I strongly suggest for this red deck, which has been very good at our tournaments here at Pro Play Games, has been the Gotenks, Ghost Attack Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. Now, this monster of a card comes out and gives you 3 ghost tokens. And not only that, but when you have a certain hand size, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, which is what we're trying to do with this entire deck, all those ghosts in this card gain double strike. I can't tell you how many times I've seen in our tournaments here at PPG where people have come up and finished off individuals by just top decking this card and winning. This is a fantastic card. When I first saw this, I was like, this is extremely good. For 5 mana, you're making 3 bodies that are 15,000 that double strike, and a 20,000 body that double strikes. That seems like the ultimate finisher, and if they survive that, I'd be very surprised. Now, when deciding what other core or what other system we wanted to implement in this deck, originally in set 1, we had the Vados Alien Core, which had Frost, and you basically play Vados on 5 and dual attack to be able to look at the top 3 cards and play an Alien Core. We found that the Alien Core has been a little slow, and playing Vados on 5 versus playing the Gotenks, we got to go with the Gotenks. This Gotenks is absolutely incredible. But we got to take out that whole system, because now we had about 12 cards that would trigger off of Vados coming into play effect or swinging effect that were aliens, but they weren't good enough. As much as I love Frost at 3 mana, I wanted to try something different. So somebody had recommended to me that to make this easier to play, that we should stick with the Gotenks that is in set 2, which includes playing a mix of Gotenks and a mix of Trunks in order to play the Gotenks. Well, then I shortly realized that the Gotenks that's prior to this is not very good. They also recommended that I play the Mighty Mask, the Mystery Warrior, to be able to search these. Now, on turn 2, I find myself in this deck either playing Hit or playing this 2-drop. I swing with the 2-drop. I then activate its ability to be able to sack it to search 2 of these out of my deck. Now, looking at these aren't very good. They're 3-drop, 1,500 beaters. They're below the curve that we've already established with Hit. But one thing that you notice with all these cards is that their combo ability is 0 plus 5,000. Meaning that they're able to easily discard into your graveyard. And why is this good? It continues to go with our synergy of having fewer cards in our hand to make these cards more affordable, these cards more powerful. Now, what else can we attain from that? Now, one thing that we've loved here at Pro Play Games is giving you guys promos. Now, when I first discovered this Dash Pack promo, Vegeta Here to Save the Day, I originally looked at the card and the requirements for it seemed really crappy. You know, you needed a Goten, a Gohan Adolescence, and a Trunks. Well, here we have all three, and it's actually very easy to get these two cards in the graveyard because this automatically puts it in your hand, and these two can automatically go into your graveyard when you're pumping for combo. Now, if they do manage to kill this after turn 2 and after you played it, then you feel great because this guy at turn 4 is much more powerful. This guy allows you to draw 2 cards if you swing with him and have 4 cards or less, and can only be played. Now, here's the catch: he can only be played if one of each of these are in your graveyard. And to my knowledge, it says he can't be played in any form. So what people have told me is that he can't even be played as combo, can't be played as energy. But what I do like about this guy is that you can, because of your leader, discard any card to activate Goku's ability, therefore ignoring this requirement, which we found to go around. I think 4 is a little crazy, but 3 is just enough to be able to see it every game, especially if they kill Gohan, which is kind of like the bread and butter. So that was a very nice addition to this deck that we've discovered. The rest is basically just stuff to help fuel this. We put a 1-drop to better find Gohan, which has been very successful. This, unlike other search guys, it doesn't search, but at the beginning of every main phase, we'll be able to look at the top 3 cards for this specific Gohan, which I found that to be actually very, very good. Another card to help fill the gaps. Well, let's see. Let's go with some of the staples for red. We obviously have Kaba. This guy is never, I feel like, is never going to leave the deck. Not only does he give you a card into your hand in an aggressive deck, but he has double strike at 1. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to find something as bursty as that. And going on into the Gohan, it's very simple. Staples that we have to go, Kaba's Awakening. You know, pumping for +6 has always been Devastator. We definitely go with the 0 block here, which is, you know, a staple. If you're not playing 4 in your deck, maybe you should go back and reassess your deck because these are definitely very good. And then 4 Negates, which not everybody is for, but in this red deck I like to have it because if I'm playing the mirror round 1, you know, it's not, in game 1s you need to be able to stop some stuff. You know, triple strikers, things like that, they're going to be able to kill you. Now here's stuff that we've been able to finagle with and mess around with, but that we're still working on, and it's up to you. This is your flavor, what I like to call the flex positions. Now, I wanted to try something new, and to go along with the theme of the deck, I wanted to put in some double strikers. So I went ahead and I put in Relentless Super Saiyan Goku 3. Because he's a 4-mana double striker that at 4 mana he comes out as a 25,000 double striker. And he's just 25,000 for that turn, but it goes with thematically with the rest of the deck as these heavy set beaters. The last card that I put in that I wish I had more of, but luckily here at Pro Play Games we give out great promos and I was fortunate enough to get into Tournament Pack 2 and trade for another one, Leap to Victory Dark Prince Vegeta. Now the reason that I recommend this guy, and this entire deck caught my attention based upon this guy, because out of all the promos, he seemed the least necessary. Like, he didn't require a lot of stuff to be able to put in or to play, but when I saw that he gains double strike if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, it already went thematically with this. And then you could, when this card attacks, you could place a card from your hand into your drop area, and if you do so, he gets plus 5,000. So he's a 20k double striker when you have a certain... Like, this seems like the card of the promos to go along with this. So, ultimately, our deck idea is that we want to abuse these two as much as possible, and we feel that this will be a big hitter within the meta. You know, decks like... When playing against decks like Cell, if they discard your hand down to 3, you don't care. You're going to keep Gohans, and you're going to be like, thanks for making them 2 cost, and just get in there. I have tried Jiren, and that'll probably be the next step that I'll go into, but definitely I would be adding more of these. And this is our red deck so far. If you guys have comments, ideas, or any suggestions, even if you want to post a video of your own explaining your specific deck, send it to us at Pro Play Games. Put it in your comments section. We love you guys. Thank you guys for showing up and giving us some support. Dragon Ball Super here at Pro Play Games, the best in South Florida. Thank you guys.